Hello, welcome back to the channel, and this is a channel where we give you reviews, playthroughs, unboxings. We generally like to talk a load of bollocks about tabletop gaming in general, and in this video we're going to be talking about a Dudes on the Map game. We're going to be talking about the Last Kingdom, and in this game you will be taking on the role of either the Anglo-Saxons or the Danes. You'll be vying for control of different regions on the map that will give you victory points that will allow you to win the game. So in this video we're going to be giving you a very brief overview of the rules. We're telling you what we do like, we don't like. Then we'll come back and we'll tell you whether or not Last Kingdom is worth your time and bother today and in the future. So remember, if you're new here, consider subscribing to this channel, will you? And remember, destiny is all prick bollocks. So, Last Kingdom. How'd you play this game? So Last Kingdom is an area control game that's based on the BBC/Netflix series of the same name. Essentially, there's two opposing sides in this game. You've got the Danes, then you've got the Anglo-Saxons, the Mercians, and the Northumbrians all merged into one faction fighting against the Danes, right? There's only 2 rounds in this game. You're going to be following a strict number of phases in each round. The first phase is the draft phase, where you'll be given a set number of cards. You'll choose one, pass them on, choose one, pass them on, choose one, pass them on, until you've got a hand of cards that you can play in phase 2, the conflict round. And after that, you've got the obligatory cleanup phase. So everybody is going to take on the role of one of the characters from the game. There are shed loads of characters in this game. You might want to take control of Uhtred, right? Or you might end up with Odda. You've got Ragnar the Younger in here, Elswith is in here, King Alfred is in here, Siegfried and Eric's in here, Breed is in here, Ethelwald the traitorous bastard's in here, Ethelfled's in here. My God, there's just so many fucking characters in this game. It makes me want to wet myself, and I did when I first opened the box. The character will have an allegiance to one of the factions. For obviously the Vikings will be aligned with the Danes, and Alfred and all his royal nutjobs will be aligned to the Saxons, right? So in phase 2, in the conflict phase, the region with the conflict token will be the region where the battle will be taking place. You're going to be striving for control of this region, yeah? We take various actions to increase your power in the region that's under conflict, and the way it works is that once the conflict is resolved, if you are aligned with the winning faction, then you'll get a shitload of points. So your turn will consist of taking actions. There's primary actions, and then there are passive secondary actions, just to make things a little bit more complicated. You've got to remember, you can only perform one primary action per turn. You can perform as many secondary actions as you want. The primary actions are denoted by an icon that looks like a geezer sucking a massive bell end, and the passive secondary actions got this little swishy thing that looks all nice and fluffy. Some of the actions you could do, you could perform a market action. You'll see at the top of the board you laid out some tiles in the setup. You'll see that there is a cost. You'll pay the cost and you'll take the tile, stick it to the end, everything will shift down and things will get cheaper the more actions you take. So some of the action plaque actions that you can do, you can take the "to see is to be wise" primary action. It says you must change your allegiance. This is great because if you can buy this at the right time, especially as a conflict is coming to its conclusion, then you can mop up a load of victory points, yeah? Or you might take the "I shall take what is mine." You can move 2 armies into an adjacent region. From that region, you can move 1 army into a different adjacent region. So this is an easy way to move shit around, right? Especially if you can get it for cheap. Or you might have the "Destiny is all" passive secondary action. You can look at the top 3 cards on a round 2 deck and add 1 to your hand. This is fucking mental because you'll get access to the stage 2 action cards in the first phase, yeah? And it's a passive action, so you can still take your primary action and a load of other secondary actions if you can. So you can play a card from your hand. You'll choose a card, doesn't cost anything to play a card, and you'll perform the action on the card, right? Not only have you got the cards that you drafted in the first phase, but you've also got some character specific special cards that give you a thematic boost. You can also move your leader. You will pay the listed amount of action tokens and you'll be able to move your leader that number of spaces that is on its character card. Or you can pass your turn. There's different types of passing. You can just pass and hope that nobody else passes so you can take more actions, because if everybody passes then the round is over. Or you can pass for good, and that way you'll get the invasion token and you'll get the conflict marker and you'll be able to choose where the next conflict takes place, right? So once everybody has taken their actions, everybody's passed in succession, you will resolve the conflict. Faction with the highest strength wins, and everybody that's aligned with that faction will get victory points equal to where they are on the affinity track. This can be pretty good if you're aligned with the Saxons because there's 3 tracks there, right? So you're going to get more points. If you manage to conquer conquer the region on your own, you're going to get 5 victory points bonus, yeah? But this is kind of tricky to do. It's like being caught not having a crafty wank on a train, but then I wouldn't know anything about that. And if you lose the conflict, you'll get some reparations. You'll receive a measly 2 action tokens, but this can make all the difference when you're using them to buy those action plaques. So the next thing you'll do once the conflict has been resolved, you'll disband some armies. You'll basically just sort of level things up again, and then you'll reset for the next conflict, right? So once you've done that, you'll do a bit of cleanup. You'll get the amount of starting action tokens that are listed on your player board, and you do a load of other shit, yeah? And once you've gone through all of the regions, then you'll move on to stage 2. You'll do some drafting with the stage 2 cards, and you'll do the whole thing again, and then you'll do some final scoring once you've resolved round 2. And then the player with the most victory points will be crowned the King of Britain, which is me, by the way, so I don't even need to play this fucking game, do I really? Know what I mean? So what do we like about the Last Kingdom? So the first thing that we really like about this is that it's full of surprises, right? This game provides you with some jaw-dropping moments. For example, you're just about to pull the trigger on a conflict, yeah? Send your leader in there to boost the power, and then somebody switches allegiances or plays one of their leader cards, such as his surmounting pressure that allows him to move some troops into different regions and then change allegiance, right? That's like devastating. Or you might be able to move King Alfred into the region, because if Alfred is in the region with any other players, then nobody can change allegiance to it, which is massively game breaking. So yeah, this game is full of surprises, has me on the edge of my seat every time, and it's fantastic. So the next thing, the second thing that we like about this is that there is a mass of options available. Not only can you choose the action plaques at the top, but you've got to be very, very careful how you use these cards. The fact that you only get one hand of cards for each phase, it's no good just blowing your stack at the first opportunity. Maybe when you're trying to defend Wessex, if you are Saxon, you've got to make sure that you keep some stuff in hand for when the going gets tough. And there's also non-player heroes that you can use in this game. For instance, you might have Skade, yeah? You get to place a figure in any region you like, and it counts as 1 Dane for scoring only. And if Skade is not in the conflict region, any time 1 or more Dane armies are removed for any reason, you may remove 1 Saxon army from Skade's region, yeah? Or you might end up picking up Heston, that fat fuck. When you play Heston for the first time, you can dump him in any region and you can switch allegiance immediately, because he was a crafty, slippery shit, wasn't he? And when any player adds or moves an army into Heston's region, after they have completed that full action, you may move Heston and up to 2 armies in the region adjacent to this region. That's fucking mental. So yeah, it's full of surprises. This deck of cards is fantastic. Mainly all of these cards have some sort of game breaking ability, and you never know which way it's going to go, yeah? So the next thing that we really like about this game is that the constant changing of allegiances keeps you on your toes, yeah? You never know when someone is plotting to change allegiance to change the balance of power in the region that you are after. These special abilities of these characters are instrumental in propagating that flux to the point where sometimes it's in your interest to bluff your way into a region and concentrate on the next region, especially if you have passed and you've got possession of the invasion token, yeah? You can fuck a region off, make people think that you're interested in it, and have the invasion token in another region that is adjacent to that region, so you can commit troops to it at a later date. So there's a lot of bluffing and intrigue in this game, and the fact that you never really know what's going to happen next. And it's not that you can't plan anything. Of course you can plan stuff, but there's so many different ways to upset the apple cart, and it's just delicious when your plan at destroying your opponent finally comes off, mainly through these things. So what don't we like about The Last Kingdom? So the first thing that we don't like about it is the aesthetics of the game. Make it look drab and dreary. I mean, just look at the board. It just doesn't look aesthetically pleasing at all. The colours are muted. There's just a couple of tracks on the board, and it's just a map of England, isn't it, at the end of the day? It's not really going to wow anybody, is it? People will look at this and go, fuck that. That looks like complete and utter dog shit. And it's a real shame, because the rather depressing way this game looks might put a few people off who would otherwise have enjoyed it. So the second thing that we don't like about this game is that it can be a little bit too long for my liking, right? There's no option to play a shorter game. So when we're pressed for time, what we usually do is just play 1 round, and if you want the second round cards, then you can just use the action that allows you to take them, right? But if you're playing through both rounds, the game can be up to 4 hours long, and it's very rare that we have that much time in an evening, especially during the weekdays, to play a game that long. So just be prepared if you do pick this up. It can be a little bit longer than what it says on the box. I mean, it was doesn't say on the box. It says it's 30 minutes per player, and that is an out-and-out bloody lie, yeah? There's no way that you could complete a 5-player game in 2.5 hours, even if everybody knows the rules, yeah? So, yeah, it's long. So the final thing that we don't like about it is, truth be told, the intellectual property of this game may put people off. I must admit, when I first saw this game, I thought, yeah, that looks like a pile of shit, doesn't it? Who the fuck would want to play a game about a TV show that deals with the Danelaw and the battle between the Saxons, right? How wrong I was. And that makes it a real tragedy, because if I'm pig-headed enough to turn my nose up at this at the first thing, then I'm assuming that a lot of other people are going to pass this by if they see it on the shelf. And really, this is one of John D. Clare's best games. He's the geezer who'd done Space Base, and what was the other thing he did? Ready, Set, Bet, and some other shit, yeah? You could tell that this game was designed by a pro games designer and not just cobbled together by some fuckwit in some money-grabbing mass-market publishing house, yeah? So, to summarise, is The Last Kingdom worth your time and bother today and in the future? So we're going to say, yeah, this game is absolutely fantastic. It captures the spirit of the TV show wonderfully with its shifting allegiances and player powers. John D. Clare has created a phenomenal experience which takes the best parts of previous Dudes on the Map games and blends them into a near Game of the Year bundle. It is that fucking good, yeah? I mean, for me, this is like a toss-up for Game of the Year, this or Station 4 at this moment in time, yeah? If you don't believe me, go and pick up a copy of this and see for yourself, because you are adults and I'm not your fucking dad. So there you go. That is The Last Kingdom, an absolute barnstorming fucking mental game. Remember, if you're new here, then please consider subscribing to this channel, hit the like button and all that YouTube bullshit. See you next time.